Hello everyone, how is it going? My name is Luis Duarte, I'm a 3D artist, and in this video I'm going to show you how I built this charismatic character. While Character Creator is excellent for creating realistic human characters, many creators also need stylized characters for games and animation. In this tutorial, I'll show you that Character Creator 5 is fully compatible with those workflows. Beyond the final result, the goal of this video is to help you understand the reasoning behind each decision throughout the process so you can apply this workflow to your own characters. We'll start from the initial idea using reference images and finish with a character full ready for animation. Before opening any software, I always start with a reference face. For this character, I gathered images that help me define three key aspects. First, the overall body silhouette and athletic body structure. Second, the facial design, distinctive and slightly exaggerated features. And third, the clothing style, urban style clothing and accessories. This stage is essential because stylization is not something you improvise during modeling. With the references defined, I open Character Creator 5 and start working with a neutral base mesh. This base is ideal because it already includes rigging, well-organized UVs, and a complete facial expression system. This allows me to focus on character design from the very beginning without worrying about technical aspects that are already solved. At this stage, I use the morph sliders to define the body silhouette. Here, I'm not looking for detail. I focus exclusively on proportions and exaggerating certain body parts to reinforce a cartoon style. For example, I slightly enlarge the hands and feet and adjust the joints to achieve a more dynamic figure. If the silhouette works without textures or details, it means the design is on the right track. Once the body structure is defined, I move on to working on the head. Instead of modifying the base head, I prefer to sculpt it directly in ZBrush, starting from a simple shape. Here, I focus on the main facial planes and expression, without adding fine details yet. When the overall shape is ready, I use Headshot to transfer the head onto the body inside Character Creator, maintaining full compatibility with the facial system. You can also add a second subdivision level, which helps preserve more of the facial detail from the sculpt. This process becomes very straightforward by creating a custom head slider from the Headshot project, which I then apply to the main character project. This method gives me a lot of creative freedom without breaking the pipeline. With the character fully integrated, I use Ghost Plus to send it back to ZBrush. In my case, I prefer to send it in an A pose, leaving all other settings at their default values. At this point, the main goal is to establish a solid connection between both programs to ensure everything works correctly. I work with lower subdivision levels to move large polygon groups and higher subdivision levels to add subtle details in key areas such as the eyes, lips, hands, and joints. It is very important not to modify the topology or the names, the tools. This ensures a stable connection between ZBrush and Character Creator, allowing the model to be updated at any time without issues. I prefer to work on this process using subdivision levels, as it allows me to control how details are read across different layers. Once the detailing is finished, I send the character back to Character Creator using the CC Ghost module to update the full mesh and the normal maps at substrate level 0. At this stage, I keep only the normal map active, although it's also possible to prepare additional maps such as diffuse or even displacement maps. Finally, I keep the texture resolution at 4K and update the character. An additional pass can be done by repeating the same process while increasing the subdivision levels both in CC and during the ZBrush update. For this reason, not all detail needs to be resolved with geometry. Textures play a fundamental role. Next, I move on to modeling the clothing and accessories. For this clothing pack, each piece was created as an independent element with its own UVs. This approach allows me to perform different actions such as building an asset library that can be easily reused on other characters without additional setup. At this stage, I focus on simple shapes with strong design and clear readability, always relying on the initial references. All elements worn by the character are independent, so it's important to manage polygon count efficiently. In Byron's case, I performed the retopology and UVs in Blender, preparing everything for map baking inside Substance Painter. During this process, I can include additional textures such as curvature, position, ambient occlusion, and others for each individual piece. For the overall texturing, I use Substance Painter with a hand-painted approach. The idea is to work lights and shadows as if I were digitally illustrating, using a mid-tone, a dark tone, and a light tone, along with subtle variations between them to achieve a comic-like aesthetic. The technique focuses on using opacity and flow variations to achieve a painterly look in the brushstrokes without relying on generators or filters. This approach reinforces the stylized look and gives the character a lot of personality. For the internal avatar textures, I apply color directly in an image editor, in my case Photoshop. For the eyes, I modify a reused texture from the gallery, painting additional elements such as highlights or gradients. And for the inside of the mouth, I simply recolor the base texture, reducing the level of realism present in the original texture. With all textures ready, I return to Character Creator to assemble the character. I import each object and position it correctly. Then I convert it into a clothing or accessory asset by transferring skin weights. After that, I assign the textures, adjust the materials, and finally correct any deformations using the skin weight editor. This allows me to preview the character's behavior in real time during animation and make the final adjustments, and this is the final result. These characters are animation ready and fully compatible with Mixer. Along with my other characters, they are now available on the Revolution Content Store. If you're interested in this character, I've already published my character pack. You can find the purchase link in the description below. This creativity and technical precision, taking full advantage of Character Creator 5 and its integration with other tools in the 3D pipeline. As you can see, each of these stages can be adapted to any style or type of character. Don't forget to store all of these assets in the content library, so you can reuse them across different characters you create. It's also worth highlighting that Character Creator 5 offers much more than just character creation. It features advanced animation and facial expression systems that make it easy to preview characters in motion, and its direct integration with tools such as iClone, Unreal Engine, Blender, and Maya makes the workflow extremely flexible. See you in the next video.